Hi again, guys, and welcome back to Quite with a Y. I still haven't decided if I'm gonna change that or not, but we're rolling with it for now until I've got off my ass and made a decision. I've got another nostalgia barrel of acid to dunk your head inside of and hopefully bring you out deep fried. So I was just chopping it up, hanging out with the goober Joko, you know, that stuff. Being outside, that thing I definitely do all the time. We were playing some Smash Bros, unfortunately not smashing our bros, and eventually we got onto the PictoChat map. And I don't know why it was, but for that specific time that we had played that map on Smash, I just got stabbed in my frontal cortex, and every memory of PictoChat just came to my brain, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since. I don't know, I've just been on a nostalgia trip since then. It made me think about my experience on PictoChat and how weirdly unique it was. Like, I think PictoChat was probably my first introduction to a kind of chat room setting. I didn't really use things like a messenger or those different messenger apps back in the day that a lot of folks did in the early aughts. I think I might have just missed them, or I just wasn't on the internet like that. But what I did have was a Nintendo DS. And baked into that Nintendo DS is like 4 buttons. One of them is PictoChat, so of course you're gonna notice it and wonder, what the fuck does this do? And you know, there was like the really early day stuff where you would just be kind of hopping into it with your friends just to use it at all, because it's essentially like the equivalent of having an extra game built in with your DS. When you have a child's imagination, you can have way more fun than you can as an adult. You'd send each other little doodles, probably bully each other a little bit, you know how it goes. But I think when the real power of PictoChat came to my attention was the first time I was able to bring my Nintendo DS on a school field trip. Obviously, you can't bring the Nintendo DS to school on a normal day because you're in school. But on a field trip where you have to get on a charter bus, it's a long-ass drive to some random museum or whatever the hell, you get to bring it on the bus exclusively, and so does the whole class. You guys know how it is. You're making plans for what you're gonna do on the field trip. You're plotting with your homies over like what Pokemon games each of you are gonna bring so you can play with each other. But because PictoChat didn't actually require the internet, you could locally connect to the same chat room with everybody else on the bus, and you would just be sending random shit. It was practically anonymous. You could send just like some what would be considered vile in 5th grade into that chat, and nobody would know it was you. Everybody would be using fake usernames, and some kid would scream out, "Who's poopy butthole that just sent a poopy butthole in the PictoChat?" And of course never owned up to it, but if you were the one who sent that weird ass shit, you would be giggling in the back of your head, because you knew. Maybe you'd admit it to your friends later and they'd like say, "Dude, that's nasty," and then clap you on the back for being such a prankster. It had like all the features of iOS Messenger before iOS was actually conceived as a thought in my brain. I remember like when some of the kids who actually had artistic talent would hop on there, I would be blown away that they were able to fit that much shit into that tiny little rectangle. I remember the thing I thought was coolest that I used to do was shading the entire white canvas black, which would take what felt like hours because there was no paint tool in this app. And then you'd use the eraser tool to draw white lines in the black canvas, and I'd be like, yeah, I've inverted the colors. And I thought it was sick as shit. When that popped up in the field trip group chat, you knew somebody had put in some legwork for their big masterpiece, and it was like, oh, wow, I gotta check this out. As much as I look back fondly on PictoChat, I'm kind of glad I don't have that today, or at least it's not a commonplace thing. Because the way that me and my friends treat our Discord DMs and sending each other things back and forth nowadays is absolutely fucking vile, and I don't want to imagine it in the context of a Nintendo DS app. Like, me and my friends have had this thing where I have abstained from this so that people are never egged on to send it to me, but they just, for a while, were sending each other pictures of Nikocado Avocado's asshole as like a gotcha. It was like their equivalent of a Rickroll. It's gotten so bad, I've seen that image so many times, I know the shape of his ass cheeks, so if somebody just draws like 2 circles and then a little lump of head or hair at the top, I know exactly who it's meant to be. I don't want that imagery showing up on PictoChat, but it's gonna be stuck there forever now. Back to actually wholesome things about that app. I remember some people would team up and draw individual frames on like the group chat that you'd scroll down to try and make a quick animation out of. It was like Flipnote Hatena before it existed. I really only used the Nintendo DS Lite version of PictoChat that much. I think they had it on the DSi or in the DSi XL, and it was upgraded apparently. Like, I remember you could like rainbow paint, and that was cool, but I didn't use it nearly as much, don't have as much of a nostalgic attachment to it. One might say that I missed out a L+ ratio. I personally feel as if my generation of PictoChat users is the superior one, because it's the one I was a part of. You know how these generational things go. It's lightning in a bottle I don't think Nintendo's managed to capture twice, because they had that Me World shit that just never really panned out. I don't even know how you'd do a version of that on the Switch. Actually, scratch that. It would be perfect for Switch. Have they brought PictoChat back for this? I need to Google this. PictoChat on Switch. PictoChat for Switch. Honestly, it was the best part of the 3DS. Oh, it was on the 3DS. Okay, so they kept that shit going. Okay, nah, the Switch has, like, voice chat in certain games, which is infinitely a worse experience than using PictoChat, I think we can all agree. Yeah, there's plenty of other nostalgic bits of PictoChat I think I'm just just kind of drawing a blank on right now because these are always off-the-cuff videos that I make very minor notes for and just cannot be fucked to put something comprehensive together for. So yeah, if you guys have any fond memories of that app, please be sure to leave them in the comments, and yeah, go away.